Wazam, y'all, and welcome back to the next episode of Sports Talk with a Lions fan. You already know it is your boy. While you're here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. In this one, we're going to look at Dan Campbell's recent interview at the owners' meeting. So, if you like my hat, go ahead and hit that like button. Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell did his media time at the owners' meeting, and he gave us a whole lot of information. He also did a little post interview, I guess you'll call it, with Detroit Lions, whatever you want, a reporter, Tim 20 minutes. Well, he gave a lot of information, but I watched both of those, and I'm just gonna just go over some of the stuff that I liked or whatever it is. I'm not gonna go over the whole thing. Y'all can go over there and watch that. That's on the Detroit Lions YouTube channel right now. But I'm just gonna look at a few things, like I said, that I like. Just starting out, they asked him a few questions. And he said just about um, you know, uh, about about this season. He called it a little bit of a rebirth. And just that rebirth, he kind of repeated that throughout this interview, and he said it a couple of times in that Tim 20-minute interview as well. He also spoke about getting younger. While naming players that we moved on from, he did mention DJ Reader. He mentioned about losing players, and he said DJ Reader, but he said, well, he's still out there, and we'll see. So that probably don't mean nothing, but I would like to see DJ Reader back on our defensive line. To continue on about losing players, he said it's never easy to lose those players, but it's time to hop off the porch for some bigger name players like, of course, Penei Sewell and Captain Jack Campbell. He said this might be taking the handcuffs off some people. He also spoke about just later in the interview about expanding roles of Jahmyr Gibbs and that big body Cybertruck, Isaac Tesla. Along with those, especially the offensive weapons and time to step up, he spoke about how he think Drew Petzing may be able to help him do that. About new offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, he also said his tape is what made him the obvious choice. At my job, that's what they said when you're going to go get a new position. They say make yourself the obvious choice. But that's what it sounds like. They said his tape made him the obvious choice for the Detroit Lions. Of course, they asked him about free agent signings, and he spoke about signing free agent center Cade Mays. He said that was huge for all the reasons that we all had said. He basically said, it solidifies our offensive line, and it upgrades us. He just spoke about, all it can do for everything. He didn't go into depth, but just some of I've spoken on just how it will help out players like whoever going to be a left guard, rather than be Miles Frazier, who he didn't mention at all in this interview, but they didn't ask him about him either. But or Christian Mahogany and Tate Rallis, a center guard center is helps each other out a whole lot. Defensively, they asked him about the need to continue to play base. He said they have the pieces to play base, and they have a lot of pieces to be flexible. Personally, I hope they retired. Well, ain't no hope, because he did speak about Levi Onwuzurike a little bit later about his role as being the big end. I didn't really get that. He said the Levi can play all the way in from the nose out to the five. And that's speaking nose tackle to five technique, landing up outside of the tackle. I don't know, man. I whatever. Like I was gonna say, I was hoping we was gonna retire that big end stuff, but maybe not. I'm okay with it being Levi, I guess. But as long as it's not a Lee McNeil playing outside there. They also asked him about young injured player Ennis Rakestraw. He said, just about where he see him playing. He said it's early, but he's had a pretty good offseason so far. And he said he want to see him compete outside. So a lot of us, or the report at least initially, was when he was drafted that he may be, drafted as playing our nickel, but he spoke about him being able to compete on the outside. So with that, that could give us, the outside cornerback that we need, and that could force a player like DJ Reed on the inside to play that to play that nickel, which is probably a better fit for him, but we'll see how that goes. They also asked him about the David Montgomery trade. Coach Campbell said he think both teams, will improve or got better after this trade. I don't want to say won, but he said both teams, made out good in this one. And then he spoke about Taylor Decker, old stupid ass. But I don't know. Basically, just about Taylor Decker. Then the more recent report about how he feels that the Lions have mistreated him. Ain't nobody called him to check on him after he requested his release, might I add. Coach Dan Campbell just said, pretty much, that's how it be. Said that's how it is. That's how it was for him as a player, and that's how it is with his relationship with coaches. That's just how it goes. So get out your feelings. Ain't no money in there, as they say. I mentioned that how he spoke about Levi Onwuzurike, and like he said about playing from the nose all the way out to the 5. And I, in my head, as a joke, I said it must be two Levi's, but we'll see. Well, we gon' see. But he also spoke about DJ Wan. They asked him about DJ Wan, and he called him. He called him a rush in. He said he wants to play him outside of, on the other side of Hutch, and things like that. On first down and stuff like that. So, he spoke about his versatility and his ability to play the run as well. One way or another, they asked him, and he spoke about getting back to that grit, getting back to being a salty, gritty team. He also spoke about that too. I thought that was a pretty interesting take that he had, just about evaluating players, if you want to call it that, about, just having salty players, them just super duper tough players, that's going to go out there and get it done, picking them over talented players that necessarily don't, aren't going to go out there and try hard as the same. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I mean, obviously, we can kind of see that as how this roster has been made out these last few years and how some of these draft picks have went. He said they want to, be what they believe that they are. So, of course, just get back to sucking people in the mouth, basically. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is he talked about no joint practices. I thought that was pretty big. Over the last few years, the Lions always make big moves in joint practices, rather it be, a little practice fight or whatnot, or last year, quote unquote, the Hutch rule. And, the Hutch rule thing rang so many bells around here. They went and signed the culprit, or they signed the originator of it, Larry Borum. This is my conspiracy about the no joint practices. It's because of Larry Borum. They don't want they don't want to go out there and have a Kayvon Thibodeau rule or whoever else, whoever else we end up playing rule. He also spoke about playing more guys in the preseason. I, I don't know how I feel. It don't really matter how I feel, but I don't know how I feel about that. Because injuries can happen any old time. But not playing in the preseason, when you do play in the preseason, man, them reps seem to be extremely necessary. So, the teams, we kind of see a pattern, the teams that don't necessarily play their guys in the preseason, they kind of, at least offensively, they kind of start off slower and then they kind of catch up. So maybe they might be trying to come out and be a little hotter, right out the gate. And, I like that. At least I like that thought. I like that way of thinking when it comes to that part. So, like I said, I wasn't gonna go over the whole interview. It's a 30-minute interview over on the Detroit Lions YouTube channel, and then it's another almost 10-minute interview with Tim Twentyman, where he gave all of the rest of the stuff that I didn't give. But of course, like I said, the big news for this is, he pretty much, he didn't necessarily say it's gonna happen, but he said he really wants to move Penei Sewell over to left tackle. And he spoke about just how his ability to play, about how he think that he can play, and then if he does, let's say if he doesn't start out as good as he was on the right, that he'll work to make it as good as he was on the right. And of course, I feel like we all kind of felt that way anyway, that that's what's gonna happen, and that Penei Sewell wasn't gonna go over there and try to be no chump anyway. Come on now, he couldn't think that what was gonna happen. But if you like any of that, what I said, please leave me a comment down in there. Let me know what you thought about Dan Campbell's interview at the owners meeting, at the league meetings or whatever it is. If you have any additional information or some of the points that I didn't speak about that you like, please drop them down in the comments for me, man. But until then, see you in the next one.